Hi, today's video we're going to have a look at motorcycle solenoids. The solenoid, if you're not sure what that is, that's the bit between your battery and your starter motor. There's a live wire goes onto it and a live wire goes from there to your starter, and when you press your starter button there's a wee bit inside that connects the two of them, sends the power to the starter and starts it. So how do you know if it's working, if it's failed, if it's needing replaced? It could point to, if you have problems with your bike like starting and things, it could point to your starter, or it could maybe point to your battery. How do you know what it is? Well, we're going to have a look at the KTM 1290 solenoid, and we're going to change it, and I'm going to explain what happened with this one. It seems to be a never-ending issues. However, I love this bike and I still wouldn't get rid of it. So we'll go and have a look into that in a second. Roll the credits. So the first thing we need to do is remove the seat for easiness. So I'll just whip it over here. And that's the seat off. And here's the battery. So leave that sitting here to keep that out of the way just now. There's the fuse covers off the thing. I'll show you in a minute. Right, I'll stick that there and I'll get my sockets. So you need to remove this wee side panel to get into the solenoid on this bike. Other bikes it might be somewhere different, but on the KTM it's in here. Come on, you can bolt. There's also another bolt in here. I actually lost that bolt when I was stuck in the car park. I'll explain what happened. So I was on my way to Hoppers Crossing. I'd been out in the KTM, it was running fine. And oh, there it goes again. And while I was running, the bike was making a rather funny noise. And here is your solenoid. So the bike was making a funny noise. It had been okay in the morning, but going up to Hoppers Crossing, as I'm going up the road, every time I stopped I could hear this, I don't know, it was like a buzzing, and it seemed to be coming from the engine somewhere. And I thought, what the hell is that? I'll need to have a look when I get off. Anyway, I go up to Hoppers Crossing, and as I pulled into McDonald's car park, the bike just died, it just went dead. I thought, geez, there's no power in it. So I took the battery cover off, had a look at the battery. Now, it's a lithium battery, so when something goes wrong with the electrics, the battery shuts down, and that's to protect the battery and to protect you. Had that been a lead acid battery, it might have caused a fire, burnt out a wire, something like that. Because it's lithium, it just shut down. And I knew how it had shut down because I got a metal rod, not the ratchet, but a rod about that length, and I touched it on the earth, and I just quick tap off the live, nothing, not a spark. And I thought, right, some electricals went because the battery's shut down. So phoned up my wife, she came flying up, and she brought my jump pack. Put my jump pack on it, but it was coming up error like it was a cross terminal. And I thought, something's wrong there, that's not right. So what I did next was, I had a look at my solenoid, which is down here, and I took this wire off. Okay, look, that's my Pepsi all over the place. Oh God, what a mess I've made. Anyway, got a big stain like I peed myself now. Never mind, that's just me. So, anyway, I took this off, and I took this wire off, and when I took that, this is the solenoid. Here's the live wire from the battery to, oh wait, now you can't see this, can you? I'll show you here. So here's the battery, here's the live wire, going to the solenoid. Okay, and on the other side of the solenoid, this live goes to the starter. And there's a block of switch here, a block switch goes in here. So what happens is, in the solenoid, these two bits are not connected, but what happens is when you turn the starter, it sends a signal here, which pushes a plate up connecting the two together, and it sends the power to your starter. As soon as the bike starts, that switches off and disconnects it again. And that's how your bike starts. But what happened was, when this was on, every time I tried to put the jump pack on, it was coming up error. When I took it off, the battery came back to life. So I thought, there's something wrong here. So while the battery was full of life, I touched that against that terminal, and it was turning the starter without me pressing the start switch, which tells me that the solenoid is faulty or stuck, whichever. For the price of a solenoid, I'm going to change it. So, solenoids, you've probably heard of people trying to start a car or a bike, mostly with a car, and they turn it and it just goes click, 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 and they go, the starter's stuck. Normally what they mean is the solenoid's stuck. So they tap it with a heavy screwdriver or a hammer, they tap it, and that wee plunger that connects the two, it moves and connects them again. Or if it's stuck on, you tap it and it'll release. So I'm not going to tap it. If it's doing that, there's a problem with it. They're sealed units, so change it. So that was how I found out it was the solenoid. So let's get that changed. So I just got this today. Solenoid, that's the part number. SKU VH672. And if we have a look in the box. So this is it here. It's the correct part number. And I had to look at the original one on my bike, and it's exactly the same as this. The one that's on it's a wee bit different because I changed that a while back when I thought the solenoid was faulty, and it wasn't. It was the ECU safe that had gone, so I replaced that. That's in a previous video. So anyway, I didn't need to change the solenoid, but now the new solenoid I've put on is not working because it was a cheap piece of shit that I bought, to be quite honest. So I'm going to take this old solenoid off and we'll get it changed over. So I'll just pull this ECU safe out the way just now to give me a wee bit of room. There we go, and we should be able to pull this solenoid out a wee bit. There we go. So the solenoid comes off from the inside of there. Okay, and let's see, is that the right size for these? I believe it isn't. Need to go to the next size down. Unplug, oops, and we'll take this off here. And we'll take this one off this side. There we go. Now, just before I start, watch, don't earth that because this is still connected to the battery. What I need to do is take these 30 amp fuses out, check them, make sure they're okay, and which they are. This is what I mean, cheapo falling to bits. However, I'll just check this one's okay as well. Yep. Because when you buy these, they come with 10 amp fuses. Which is no good. The actual fuses, the one on this side, or is that go? The one on this side is the 30 amp fuse, and the other side Make sure you push it right in. The other side is just a holder, see? It just holds the fuse. So if you have a blowout, you know, if your starter's not working, you can go to your solenoid and have a look at it, and if the 30 amp fuse is done, swap them over, stick a spare one in there, and it should work. And I'll put the wee covers on as well. That's that done. Now, it might be easier. There's two wee brackets here, and you notice the correct solenoid when it comes with the rubber, with the two wee bits for the brackets to go in, and that's what holds it in position. So, and last thing is we plug this in, yeah, and bolt this all back into place. I found that every Stanley ratchet I have ends up, you know, this wee bit for moving, you know, to the left or right. They bugger up and then it locks, and when you got your hand doing an engine, it's the last thing you want. And I found sometimes it's the wee screws on the top go slack. This one isn't slack. I don't know why it's doing it, but sometimes the wee switch moves over, you know, and I'm not touching it, you know, but it does it, and it's bloody annoying. I wish Stanley would sort this. Maybe with these lifetime warranties, I should maybe send all my ratchets back and say fix this. Who knows? Anyway, let's get this put together. So that's it in. That's the bolt in. And we'll stick this. We'll stick this back into its place. Again, the rubbers just slide on. Now I noticed the wee thing with this ECU safe, which in a previous video I replaced. See, there's the plug and there's a hole in there. Surely that hole's going to take in moisture. I'm just saying, like, you know, maybe that should be sealed up with something. In fact, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'll be back in a second. So when I had to change this because it wasn't working properly, I did notice there was a couple of wee spots of moisture inside that plug, so I'm wondering if moisture got in. So I got my red stuff. I was doing the son-in-law's Ford Ranger the other day. What are we doing? Putting glow plugs in it. So I'll just put a sealing of that over there. That'll set and go rubberised, and that should stop any water or moisture getting in that hole. Because when you're washing it, you know, it's quite possible for moisture to get in there. Whew, so let's get this put together. Now I've lost a screw. It fell down the inside of the bike somewhere. But however, this one will hold it in place. So let's see if we have ignition. No ignition. So again, lithium battery, slightest problem, they'll lock themselves out. Doesn't mean the battery's flat or the battery's dead, it's just locked out. We'll go and fix that and I'll show you how. So there's no ignition, so all you need to do, and I'd advise anybody, not sponsored or anything from them, this one was actually bought by my son-in-law for me, which was very good of him. So before, when I did this, it wouldn't even recognise the battery because of the solenoid. So let's see what she does now. If she'll grip a hold. I think she will. Right, ignition on. Alright, hang on. We've got a right live. Oh, Well, that's great, this is dead. I'll need to give it a charge up. I thought this had plenty of power in it. 16 volt. No, she's dead. I'll go and charge it. Now, I'm glad that we noticed that and I can get that charged up. I usually keep it charged up. I sit next to my computer, and if I'm going out on a bike or out on a bike ride, stick it in the back of the bike, because you never know who's going to get a flat battery. So yeah, it's dead. I've never seen it dead like that before, but that was when we were trying to do the battery because of that thing was crossing. So yeah, it's maybe flattened the whole lot. Anyway, not to worry, I'll get that sorted and we'll come back when it's ready. So how can you jump your battery back into life, you know, because it's just shut down? Well, one is use the booster that I've got, which is dead at the moment, or you can use jump leads on a car. Just connect the positive and negative and put your jump leads onto the bike battery. Just clamp your earth onto the body somewhere and just touch the thing against the live against your live terminal. That'll boost your battery back on. I'm going to show you another way you can do it with a motorcycle battery. So press the ignition button and ignition has just came on. As you can see there, I need to reset my clock. So it just shows that the battery is not dead. The battery has locked out, and all it takes is to touch 12 volts against it and it unlocks it. That's lithium batteries for you. It's a pain in the arse, but it's a safety element. It's better than your arse going on fire with a battery under it, because you know what these things are like when they explode. So anyway, that's power back on. So let's see if she'll start. So I'm just holding the wire on just to give it that wee bit extra boost for the first start. And I'll just let that tick over for a minute. And I'll set my clocks. So that's that done. Solenoid changed, start no problem now. But yeah, before that had stuck in the solenoid and it was causing the starter to turn while I was riding it. It could have done a lot of damage, I suppose, but however, we got it done. So that worked out well. And the new solenoid was about $32 off Amazon. Pretty cheap. I can put a link down below for you. But yeah, you get a dodgy solenoid, it can cause a lot of problems. You know, it may look like your battery, it may look like your starter. Yeah, it may look like 1,000 different things, but yeah, they're easy to test. So yeah, I'm going to set my clocks and then we'll take her for a wee ride, I think. So it's sitting at 13.3 volts charging, so I'll take it for a wee run. Usually when it's running normally it'll sit about 14.1. So the battery is doing a fair wee bit, so I'll probably put that on charge tonight, I think. Slowly coming up, slowly putting a bit of power back into the battery, but we'll see how it goes. It's so nice to be on the KTM. I love the Goldwing. I mean, the Goldwing is the ultimate machine, but this, you know, if you have to nip anywhere, especially into the city or anything like that, this is the bike to do it on. I mean, it's great for nipping through traffic, and it's quick. Not that I push it much, but I mean, it is a quick bike. Ah, it's so beautiful out here today. What's temperature? 24 degrees it says on my clock, and it's usually pretty accurate, 24. So yeah, I changed that solenoid a while ago when something was faulty, and I thought, I wonder if it's the solenoid. It's a cheap option, unless you buy the solenoid through KTM, you pay an absolute fortune. It's over $100. You get it off Amazon, that was about $32, and that is the proper one for the 1290. And when I compared it with the 1290 that originally came off of this, it's exactly the same. So yeah, and the original 1291 was okay. I didn't realise I still had it. I thought I'd maybe thrown it away, because I looked for it, couldn't find it, hunted high and low. And then when that one arrived today, I opened my toolbox to get my torque sockets, and what's sitting in the toolbox? The original. However, it means I've got a spare, but that seems to be working fine now. Just on another topic, this is me using my DJI mini mics. I usually like DJI 1 mics, original ones, and I bought these mini ones because if you're only using one mic, you can actually Bluetooth it onto the GoPro 13, which means that you don't have to have the added bit in the GoPro, you know, the receiver for picking up the mic. The GoPro will pick up the mic on its own. But I have noticed, oh, there's my phone going, I have noticed that I've noticed that with the GoPro Mic 2 that the volume's pretty low.
Oh.
Hello!
Hello!
Hello! How you doing?
Good. Did you get your part?
I did. I'm actually out on the bike just now as we speak.
Oh.
It's running lovely.
Good.
Yeah, it was what I thought it was, the solenoid, so I'm kind of glad about that. Whew, yeah. I thought it was going to be something expensive like the starter or something, but no, it was just the solenoid. And the funny thing was, I changed it a while ago when I thought it was away before, and it wasn't, it was something else. So the solenoid I put on it was a cheapo one, you know, on Amazon, but like cheap. So this time I bought another one off of Amazon, but it was a more expensive one. It was $32 instead of about $20. But it's the one for the KTM, and it says it's for the KTM, and I checked the numbers on it, and yeah, it's the same as the original one that came off, so I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I've just picked up the dash and the airbags and all now.
Oh, lovely! Excellent.
Yeah, he did me a deal. He said I took some off, you know. 1,290.
Alright, that's alright, that's good.
It was quoting the 2,000 for the dash.
Yeah, well, at least if that's done, it means the car's back to roadworthy standard, and it means you can, I mean, if you wanted to sell it or trade it in, you've got that option now, because everything will be back to normal. But that's good, and that machine I've got in the house will be able to set up the airbags with the car, you know, if there's a problem. So yeah, so when you come in doing to fit them? Alright, I'm free tomorrow, but I'm babysitting Friday. Oh well, that's good. So if you message me later and we'll see what's happening. I'm just turning into the house now.
Alright.
I'm going to make the tea.
Go on, you make the tea. I'll
right.
talk to you later.
Okay, dokie. I'll see you later.
See you then.
See ya.
Alright.
Bye. So this is my Victron charger. This 6 volt, 12 volt, and it pumps out 1.1 amps maximum, which is a nice trickle charge for a bike. So I'll plug this in to the mains. Then I'll take this bit off. We don't need them because it's connected to a plug down here. Pull the cap off, stick it on. Then you get the Victron app, wherever it is. Victron. So we go to the app, click on it, connecting, okay, and we click on the tools and we change it to Lithium battery 1.1. okay, so that's it doing lithium. So there we go, 13.45, it's putting in 1.1 amps, which is the maximum. So it goes bulk charge, then it goes to absorption charge, and then once it's recovered, it goes into float and then storage. So you could leave it on for months if you wanted, and it keeps the bike. But I do all my bikes with this, not the cars. You need something with a bit more ampage for a car, but for a bike, this is perfect. So there you go, shows a wee diagram how low your battery is. So anyway, I'll leave that on charging overnight and see what it's like tomorrow, and I might take her for a wee spin. So that's it all done. So it just shows you the solenoid can cause a lot of problems on your bike, and sometimes you might not think it's the solenoid, but it's always worth testing. It's a cheap part, and if something's wrong with your electricals, you know, test it. The best way to test it is use your voltmeter between the two terminals on it to see if there's a connection, because there shouldn't be a connection until you switch your ignition on or your starter on. There's a lot of different ways of testing it, but you'll know if it's the solenoid after watching this video. You know, it shows you how to point to the solenoid that's at fault. And I'm glad that's all it was with this. But again, KTM again. A beautiful bike, but by Christ, I hope the newer models, this is a 2019, I hope the newer models have fixed all these issues out that they get with electronics. I think it's just because there's so much, you know. You look at other bikes like, I don't know, Royal Enfields and things like that, where there's very little in technology in them, you know, and people love them, they seem to go forever, but the minute you go to something like this with a lot of tech in it, even the Goldwing's not got that much technology, although it's quite advanced, you know. Mine's is 2010, so it's not that advanced, but yeah, stuff like the Royal Enfield and that, they just go on forever. It's just an engine, you know, it's got a wee dynamo in it or whatever, and yeah, there's not much can go wrong with it. But a wee 350 or 650 Royal Enfield's not really big enough for Australia. You know, if you're travelling from place to place, you're going up motorways and long distance tracks and things like that. You need something that's got a fair bit of power that's going to tick over when you're sitting at 120, you know. You really want something that's screaming its head off. But however, that's it for me today. I hope that was helpful. And I can put a link to that solenoid on the bottom of the video. If you want to, you know, see where I got it or whatever, or what kind it is, and I'll catch up with you soon. I've got some other jobs to do. I was going to start in the GPX today, but yeah, I had to get this done. I needed this done because it was driving me up the wall. So my two drivable bikes are driving now, so that's a good thing. Anyway, I'll catch you later. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give me a wee like, and I'll see you later. Bye.